Reaction is an impulse, not wisdom. When someone hurts you, the first thing that flares up inside is not peace or perspective, it's fire. That instant urge to respond, to prove, to defend yourself feels like strength in the moment, but it's actually the mind's way of escaping discomfort. We confuse reaction with power because it gives us something to do times when we feel powerless. But the truth is, reaction is often the easiest path and the most costly one. It's driven by emotion, not understanding. It comes from the raw, unfiltered space between pain and pride. When we react, we hand over control of our emotions to the very person who just hurt us. We let their words dictate our energy. Their tone becomes our mood. Their behavior starts to shape our own. It's like letting someone else steer your heart while you sit in the passenger seat. You might feel justified, you might feel righteous, but you're no longer in charge of your peace. That's the trap of reaction. It gives temporary relief and lasting regret. Because once the heat fades, we're left wondering why we let their pain become our personality for that moment. Wisdom doesn't rush. Wisdom watches. It sits quietly in the tension and lets the first wave pass. Wisdom asks, what is this really about, instead of how dare they? Wisdom understands that every person who hurts us is showing us something about themselves, not about our worth. It's a deep shift in awareness from reacting to what's done times to times us, to observing what's happening times within times us. That shift takes courage. It's hard not to react when your pride is bruised or your feelings are dismissed. It's hard not to fight back when you're misunderstood, but it's even harder to live with the consequences of actions born out of pain. Reaction is immediate. Wisdom is intentional. Reaction wants to win the moment. Wisdom wants to win the peace. Reaction speaks from the wound. Wisdom speaks from the healing that hasn't happened yet, but is waiting for space to begin. When you pause instead of reacting, something powerful happens inside you. You create distance between the pain and your response. In that space, clarity lives. You start to see that not every comment deserves your energy, not every attack requires defense, and not every insult is worth your attention. The moment you stop reacting, you reclaim your emotional freedom. You begin to respond from strength instead of fear. You stop matching energy and start protecting your own. Reaction is easy, it's instinctive, it's fast, and it feels satisfying for a second. But wisdom is slow, quiet, and deeply rooted. It doesn't seek to hurt back, it seeks to understand and rise above. When you stop reacting, you stop being predictable, you become grounded, untouchable in your peace. And that is the point where you stop dancing to someone else's chaos and start leading with your calm. Silence isn't weakness, it's emotional mastery. There is a certain kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't shout, it doesn't defend, and it doesn't rush to explain. It simply knows its own power. Silence is that kind of strength. That's what happens when you reach a level of emotional maturity where your peace matters more than proving your point. The world often confuses silence with surrender, but real silence is the opposite of giving up. It's choosing not to waste energy on what doesn't deserve it. When someone hurts you, your silence can speak louder than any argument ever could. It's a declaration that you refuse to be dragged into noise that has no meaning. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about knowing that reacting won't bring you the respect or understanding you're hoping for. Silence is the space where you protect your dignity. It's where you choose your own sanity over someone else's chaos. We live in a time where being loud is mistaken for being strong. People think that if you don't clap back, you've lost. But silence is not about losing. It's about restraint, the kind that only emotionally disciplined people have. It's about knowing that peace of mind is too valuable to be traded for the satisfaction of the last word. It's realizing that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Because when you truly know yourself, you understand that not every situation deserves a reaction, and not every person deserves access to your emotions. Emotional mastery is the ability to stay calm in moments that are designed to make you lose yourself. It's being able to sit with your discomfort without letting it control you. It's choosing stillness when everything inside you wants to scream. That level of control doesn't come from indifference, it comes from deep awareness. You recognize your triggers, you understand your patterns, and you decide not to feed the fire. You stop needing. validation from others to confirm your worth. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Silence gives you time to breathe, to think, to observe. It creates a space between what happened and how you choose to respond. In that space, truth becomes clearer. You start to see that not every insult is about you, not every judgment is fair, and not every battle is worth fighting. Silence lets your wisdom rise above your wounds. It teaches you that the best reply to disrespect is often no reply at all. Because when you stay silent, you're not ignoring, you're protecting your peace. You're choosing maturity over madness. People who misunderstand your silence often do so because they've never experienced self-control. They mistake calm for weakness because they only know strength in the form of noise. But silence is power under control. It's knowing you could react, but you choose not to. It's when you stand firm in your peace while the world around you tries to shake it. Silence is the art of letting go without losing yourself, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth doesn't need defending. Hurt people. It's one of those truths that sounds simple but explains so much of the pain we experience in life. When someone lashes out, when they say things that cut deep or act in ways that feel cruel, it's easy to take it personally. It's easy to believe that their words define your worth or that their behavior is about you. But often, what they're really doing is projecting their own unhealed pain onto someone else. They're not trying to destroy you because of who you are. They're reacting to their own wounds that they don't know how to face. Every person carries invisible stories, experiences that have shaped the way they love, trust, and respond. Some carry rejection, others betrayal, abandonment, shame, or loss. These unresolved emotions don't just disappear, they turn into armor, defense mechanisms, or patterns that get repeated. When someone has been hurt deeply and hasn't found a way to heal, their pain looks for an outlet. Sometimes it shows up as anger, control, criticism, or silence. Sometimes it's manipulation disguised as protection. Sometimes it's cruelty disguised as strength. And the tragedy is that many people don't even realize they're passing on the same pain that once broke them. Understanding this doesn't excuse the hurt, but it gives it context. It allows you to see beyond the surface of someone's behavior and recognize that their cruelty is more about them than about you. When you begin to see people through this lens, you stop personalizing everything. You stop letting their actions define your identity. Instead, you start to understand that their reaction is a mirror of what's happening inside them. It doesn't make it right, but it helps you release the need to fight back or to carry their pain as your own. The real strength lies in breaking that cycle. When someone hurts you, your instinct might be to hurt them back, to make them feel the pain you felt. But that only continues the same pattern. Healing begins when you refuse to mirror the pain that was given to you. It begins when you realize that compassion doesn't mean tolerance. It means understanding without absorbing. You can set boundaries, walk away, and still wish healing for the person who tried to harm you. That's emotional evolution, the decision to end what hurt you instead of becoming it. Hurt people often build walls to feel safe, but healing people build bridges. The difference is awareness. When you know your pain, you stop projecting it. You take responsibility for it. You learn that empathy is not weakness, it's wisdom. You begin to see that love, patience, and understanding are not signs of surrender, but signs of deep emotional strength. Because the most powerful thing you can do when someone wounds you is not to wound them back, but to choose to stop the pain from traveling any further through you. Hurt people, but healed people, heal people, and the moment you decide to heal, you break the cycle that has lasted far too long. Choose response over reaction. The difference between the two is small in time, but enormous in impact. A reaction happens instantly. It's the heat that rises before thought, the impulse that wants to defend, to strike back, to make the other person feel what you just felt. A response, however, comes after the pause. It's deliberate, grounded, and guided by understanding rather than emotion. Reaction is about the moment. Response is about the outcome. One is ruled by ego, the other by awareness. The choice between the two often determines whether a situation escalates into chaos or transforms into clarity. When we react, we give away our control. Our emotions take the lead, and we end up saying or doing things that don't truly reflect who we are. We might regret the words that came out too fast or the tone that came out too sharp. Reaction feels powerful in the moment because it satisfies the immediate need to release anger or pain. But after that rush fades, we often find ourselves replaying the moment, wishing we had chosen differently. That's the illusion of reaction. It feels like strength, but it's actually surrendering your peace to emotion. A response, on the other hand, comes from stillness. It's not about ignoring your feelings, but about mastering them. When you choose to respond instead of react, you're saying, I will not let this moment define me. You take a breath, you think, and you decide what aligns with your values rather than your frustration. Responding doesn't mean you're passive or indifferent. It means you're mature enough to separate what you feel from what you do. It's not suppression, it's self-control. And that control doesn't come from pretending you're unaffected. It comes from recognizing that peace is more valuable than proving a point. Choosing response over reaction is a skill built through awareness. It requires noticing your emotions before they take over. It's in the pause between trigger and action where your power lies. That small space, just a few seconds, can change everything. You might realize the comment that offended you wasn't worth your energy, or that the person's tone had nothing to do with you at all. You might recognize that walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Responding gives you time to see the bigger picture, to choose what kind of person you want to be in that moment. Life constantly gives us moments that test our patience, pride, and boundaries. People will misunderstand you, criticize you, and sometimes intentionally push your buttons. You can't control what they do, but you can control how you handle it. A reaction feeds the conflict, a response starves it. Reaction burns bridges, response builds them, or walks away peacefully. Reaction wants to win the argument. Response wants to win your peace. Every time you choose to respond with intention, you rise above the noise and protect your emotional energy. The real power is not in having the last word, it's in having the calm to know you don't need one. Healing begins when you pause. In a world that moves fast and demands constant reaction, stillness can feel uncomfortable, even foreign. But it's in that pause between what hurt you and how you choose to move forward that real transformation starts. When you pause, you give yourself permission to feel instead of flee. You stop running from the ache, stop numbing the discomfort, and begin to face the truth of what's inside you. Pain doesn't disappear because you ignore it. It softens when you acknowledge it. That's what the pause does. It opens a quiet space for awareness to breathe, for honesty to surface, and for healing to begin. So many people carry pain they've never paused long enough to understand. They bury it under distraction, work, relationships, or anger. They move from one thing to another, hoping motion will dissolve emotion. But nothing heals if it isn't faced. The pause is not weakness, it's the courageous act of meeting yourself in the rawest place. It's saying, I'm not okay right now, and that's okay. In that silence, you begin to recognize patterns, the same arguments, the same disappointments, the same cycles of hurt that seem to repeat. The pause gives you clarity to see what you've been avoiding, what needs to be released, and what needs forgiveness, especially the forgiveness you owe yourself. When you pause, you create distance from the noise of reaction and expectation. You allow your nervous system to settle, your heart to slow, and your mind to catch up with your emotions. In that space, you can ask deeper questions. Why did that moment hurt me so much? What story am I telling myself about it? What wound inside me did it touch? The answers don't always come quickly, but the act of asking is where healing begins. The pause helps you replace judgment with curiosity and pain with compassion. It allows you to hold your feelings gently instead of fighting them. Healing is not about forgetting or pretending the hurt never happened. It's about understanding it so deeply that it no longer controls you. The pause gives you that understanding. It teaches you patience with your own process. It shows you that rushing to move on before you're ready only deepens the wound. When you pause, you learn that not everything requires immediate action or explanation. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is sit with the discomfort until it reveals its lesson. The pause is where growth hides, in the breath before the next step, in the quiet before the decision, in the moment before you respond. It's where strength is rebuilt piece by piece with honesty and self-compassion. Healing doesn't happen in the chaos of reaction, it unfolds in the calm of reflection. And every time you pause, instead of pushing forward, you tell yourself that your peace, your clarity, and your heart are worth the wait. Your calm is your comeback. When life shakes you, when people misunderstand you, and when situations push you to your limit, your calm becomes your greatest form of strength. The world expects you to break, to react, to defend, to fall apart. But the moment you choose peace over chaos, you take back your power. Calm isn't the absence of emotion, it's the quiet confidence that no matter what happens, you won't let anything or anyone pull you out of alignment with yourself. It's the steady voice inside that says, I can handle this, even when your heart feels heavy. Calm is not something you're born with, it's something you build through every storm you've survived. It comes from learning that not every battle needs to be fought, not every insult needs a reply, and not every situation deserves your energy. It's a lesson that grows out of pain, the kind of pain that once made you reactive, defensive, or desperate to prove yourself. But with time, you start to realize that peace is worth more than winning an argument, that silence speaks louder than shouting, and that walking away can sometimes be the loudest declaration of strength. Your calm is proof that you've evolved beyond the need to match anyone's chaos. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't feel anger, sadness, or frustration. It means you feel them fully, but don't let them dictate your behavior. You recognize the emotion, breathe through it, and respond from your center. That calm is your shield. It protects your energy, your focus, and your self-respect. It stops you from saying words you can't take back or making choices you'll regret. Calm doesn't change the world around you, but it changes the way you experience it. When you remain composed in the face of negativity, you become untouchable. You stop being controlled by what's happening around you and start being guided by what's happening within you. The comeback isn't always loud or visible. Sometimes it's quiet. It's waking up and choosing not to let yesterday's pain define today. It's meeting the same people who tried to bring you down and realizing they no longer have power over you. It's walking through situations that once broke you and feeling peace instead of anger. Calm is your emotional comeback. It's the proof that you've healed enough to no longer need validation, revenge, or recognition. You don't need to prove your worth. Your peace already does that for you. Your calm reminds others that they can't control you through chaos. It unsettles those who expect a reaction and empowers those who are watching how you rise. In every challenge, your composure becomes your victory. The real comeback is not in showing the world you're stronger than before. It's in showing yourself that nothing can make you lose the person you've become. Your calm is the quiet roar of resilience, the gentle but unshakable reminder that peace is not weakness, it's your greatest form of power.